Hey there guys, we're doing another Glock run through, this time with actually all of the Glock 357 SIG offerings, plus a bonus down here on the end with a 357 SIG that Glock should make, but they don't. So we're going to talk through these a little bit, but before we get into the firearms themselves, 357 SIG is a strange caliber. Not many people know the details of it, so let me just zoom in real quick. You'll notice I have a 9mm and a 40 Smith & Wesson. This 357 SIG here in the middle looks kind of weird. It's a bottlenecked pistol cartridge, which is very rare, very strange. And essentially what this cartridge's purpose was to replicate 357 Magnum in a semi-automatic pistol. And they did that by taking a 40 Smith & Wesson case and necking it down to a 9mm projectile. And so you get this weird bottlenecked cartridge that is straight-walled, so it works in semi-automatics, but has more capacity for powder, pushing that smaller bullet. So again, just to clarify, so I said that the 357 SIG is designed to replicate 357 Magnum. Now what does that mean? Well, specifically the 125 grain 357 Magnum. The ballistics of a 125 grain 357 Magnum is what the 357 SIG is intending to replicate. Okay? So Glock, of course, came out with a series of 357 SIG firearms. These were popular in law enforcement. I think Secret Service used them for a while. But they essentially took their Glock 17, 19, and 26, or if you're used to the 40 numbers, they're 22, 23, and 27, and they converted them from 40 or 9 down to the 357, or up to the 357 if you're going from 9. So this guy here is a Glock 31. Standard 4.5-inch barrel, standard grip, pretty much identical to a Glock 22, just with a different barrel there. This next one here is the Glock 32 with the 4-inch barrel and the compact frame size. Again, very similar to your Glock 19, your Glock 23. Pretty much your Glock 23 with a 357 SIG barrel. An interesting thing is the barrels between the 357 SIG Glocks and the 40 caliber Glocks are directly interchangeable. So a 9 and a 40, you can't just swap barrels, you have to get a conversion barrel. But with the 357 SIG and the 40, you can just swap those barrels. The baby Glock, so this is the Glock 33, nice of them, 31, 32, 33. So the 33 here is the subcompact, so we've got a 3.5-inch barrel, the shortened grip length. Yeah, it's your standard baby Glock, very similar to the Glock 26, Glock 27, but again in 357 SIG. This last one here, what is this guy? Well, this is obviously a Glock upper. It's got the Glock logo there, but it's really long. I'll throw it over here next to the 31 for comparison. So this is my Glock 24 upper. It's a 6-inch barrel that is converted to 357 SIG. And you're thinking, well, that's interesting. Why would you do that? Just like many other cartridges, 357 Magnum included, the longer the barrel, the more time you have for the gas pressure to accelerate that projectile, the more performance you get. And the sweet spot for performance on a 357 SIG is a 6-inch barrel, much like many other calibers. So this upper, which is essentially a Glock 24 upper with a 357 SIG barrel in it, is kind of like the perfect match for the cartridge and for a Glock firearm. So we're going to shoot that one as well. Glock doesn't make a 6-inch 357 SIG. I really wish that they would, though, because I think, well, I guess I can't say I really wish they would. 357 SIG is falling out of favor, so they're not making, they're not going to make a Gen 5 out of 357 SIG. Maybe they'll prove me wrong, but it's not a particularly popular caliber anymore, so they're not going to make a 6-inch version. But it's really a good option for 357 SIG is having a 6-inch barrel platform. Let's do some shooting. All right, so up first we have the Glock 31, our full-size 357 SIG. Now, because it is a 40 caliber cartridge that's necked down to a 9, you can expect your magazine capacities to essentially replicate that of the 40 caliber versions. So this is a 15 round magazine, full size. In a 40 caliber full size Glock, I would also have 15 rounds. All right, and let's do some holster work. I'm going to be taking a class later this week. Might be good to get a little bit of practice in so I don't look dumb in the class. All right. So as you can tell, it's laying those plates down. Now a 9mm will lay those knockdown plates down as well. Those are 8-inch plates fairly well. It's not going to struggle with that. Let's try it on the dueling tree where 9mm really struggles to move that tree around and 40 can spin it around. Let's see if we can see what the performance difference is between 9 and 357 SIG, between 357 SIG and 40, just based on how it interacts with those plates. Felt weird? Might have been why. There, find that one. All right, last one. Ha! Oh, you've got to be kidding me. I hit it so hard I broke the plate right off. It's okay. It's probably not my fault, but yeah, we'll let the club know that I knocked that off and we'll get that repaired. But you'll notice that 357 SIG is actually knocking those plates around with a bit of authority, where 9mm is usually struggling to get them halfway around or all the way around. So you can tell this is a hotter round than a 9mm. The neat thing is it doesn't feel as punchy as a 40. When I'm shooting 40, and there's a bit of recoil. It's manageable, but there is a bit of recoil. I feel like I'm really shooting something big. But because this is a lighter 125 grain bullet, these are 124 grain reloads, by the way, it's a lighter bullet, there isn't as much of that felt recoil, but you're getting the velocity that you need in order to actually knock those plates around fairly well. All right, let's go ahead and move on down to the Glock 32. All right, so Glock 32, this is actually one of my Glock 23s that I have a Lone Wolf conversion barrel for 357 SIG for. I ordered a normal one, they sent me one with threads. So it sticks out a little bit, but it's pretty much the same thing. I didn't complain because getting a little bit of extra barrel gives me a little bit higher performance. I'm never gonna run this thing suppressed. 357 SIG is a supersonic round. You can get some subsonic loadings, but it's supersonic, so I'm probably not gonna suppress it. All right. Again, magazine capacity similar to the 40, and in fact this is a 40 magazine. It's 13 rounds, 13 rounds. All right, so let's just go ahead and see how this works. You'll notice the holster that I'm using is my Alien Gear Shapeshift outside the waistband, designed for the Glock 19, the Glock 23. It fits, these are standard frame Glocks, so they will fit inside of any accessory that you have for Glock 19, Glock 23, Glock 17, Glock 22, etc. All right, let's put some shots on target. Oh boy. High or low? Oh, it's hitting low. Nope. Oh, come on. Winged that one. Alright, and we're out. Okay, so again, as we get to a smaller firearm, you get a little bit more felt recoil. There's a little bit more there. But not terrible. Not terrible at all. Alright. Again, it's not as punchy as a 40, so if you're used to shooting a Glock 23, moving to a Glock 32, you're getting a slightly reduced recoil, but with similar energy. Another point of note, just for the 357 SIG in general, 9mm has a tendency to over-penetrate. And so many people today have taken 9mm and made hollow point versions of them to prevent the over-penetration, deliver more energy on target, which makes sense. The problem is many 9mm don't have enough velocity out of the shorter barrels that you would get for carry to actually deliver that projectile to a target and get that, man, I'm losing my words here, and get that hollow point to actually expand correctly. So you end up with over-penetration because that hollow point's not expanding. The extra velocity that you get with a 357 SIG, you actually get less penetration with a 357 SIG hollow point because it opens up that much faster, dumps that energy a lot faster. So a 357 SIG, it's like a 9mm Magnum that takes care of all of the deficiencies of 9mm in general. All right, 357 SIG out of a Glock 33. Nice little subcompact baby Glock. Let's see what we can hit with this guy. Oh, nothing apparently. There we go. Yeah. Alright, just a few rounds there. Again, out of a small package, it is a punchy round. This is similar to a 357 Magnum. Now, I should have brought out a 357 Magnum so that you could compare kind of the muzzle blast and the explosion of a 357 to what you're getting out of this. You can go watch my other videos where I've shot 357s. Even out of a hefty steel frame revolver, there's a bit of kick, there's a bit of a concussion with a 357 Magnum. The way that this cartridge was designed, the fact that you have a spring system absorbing some of that recoil, 357 Sig is a very nice round to shoot compared to 357 Magnum. 357 Magnum, for example, I'll usually let newer shooters shoot 38s out of that same revolver. With a 357 Sig, I have no qualms, okay? So when I take somebody to the range for the caliber experience, for example, I'll let them shoot a 9, I'll let them shoot a 40, and as long as they're handling those cartridges well, I'll give them a 357 Sig, and they can kind of say, yeah, that's not as bad as the 40, but it's more than the 9, and we can talk about the ballistics and have fun. But so that's fun. So let's switch over now to the 357 Sig that Glock doesn't make. So I'm going to take the Glock 31 upper off. I have my Glock 31 lower, and I'm just putting my Glock 24 upper on top of that. And so now I have this beautiful 6-inch 357 Sig, and let's see if we can run some of the dueling tree. Yep. Run some of the dueling tree with this setup, and hopefully we won't break off any more of those plates. Oh boy. Alright. Oh, that's disappointing. There it goes. Goes. It's feeding funny. That's weird. Wonder why it's not picking that up. Not quite sure, but you'll notice that it is flipping those around. Let's see if I can hit this little 4-inch plate here on my plate rack down below. See if I can nick one of those guys. There we go. Nailed it. I think I might have gotten it top corner there. There we go. Bounce it around a little bit. Yeah, I'm not sure why it was having so much trouble earlier with loading those up. Maybe it's a lighter spring. But anyway, 6 inches. You get a little bit more power out of that 357 Sig than out of the standard 4.5-inch barrel. And I really like, I like all my 6-inch Glocks. So shooting 357 Sig, 9mm, 40 out of a 6-inch Glock is really, really comfy. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that. We actually got to all of the 357 Sig Glock offerings. They do make them both in 3rd gen and 4th gen. As I said, I don't think that they're going to make a 5th gen 357 Sig. It's just falling out of favor. Departments don't want it because it's hard to source ammo, so I doubt that they'll make a 5th gen version of it. Though with a 5th gen Glock 23 or Glock 22, you can just swap out the barrel and then you have a 5th gen version of that. In fact, let's do that. Haha! Look what I have here. I know many of you guys were asking me about the 5th gen stuff back when the 40 cal version or the 40 cal video came out, goodness, ages ago. I couldn't get a hold of one for a long time. I was bidding on Gunbroker, but they were going for more than I was willing to spend. And then lo and behold, there was 4 auctions, same company, same firearm, all started pretty much a couple hours apart. And the second one was lower than my max bid, so I went ahead and bid on it. And for whatever reason, it ended $100 less than the first or the third auction. So I'm not sure what happened there, but I'm grateful I was able to get myself a Gen 5 Glock 23. So you'll notice no finger grooves on the front. You probably can't see it, but the mag well is flared a little bit. Hey, that's a slide release on both sides of the firearm. You have your finger grooves on the front side of the slide as well, and this thing is fat. If you've seen other videos, which this thing has been out for a while, so I'm sure you've seen other videos detailing the Gen 5 Glock 23 and 22, but they have a fat slide on them. It's an interesting choice that Glock made. Biggest problem, doesn't really fit inside of my Glock, my standard Glock holsters anymore. So you need the thicker Glock 20 or Glock 21 holster, the large frame holsters, in order to fit it. But it actually does kind of, it sticks in there. All right, so let's convert this 40 caliber Gen 5 Glock to 357 Sig. And then we will have the very first, I'm sure it's the very first 357 Sig Gen 5. All right, there is my 357 Sig conversion barrel. Put that thread protector on there. I'm going to leave the Gen 5 recoil spring in there. And I have not done this before. So if this blows up in my face, the video is going to end right here. All right. Yeah, it looks like it's locking up nicely. Yeah. Again, as I said, so the dimensions for the 40 caliber barrel, especially the chamber dimensions, which is where the lockup happens, are identical between the 357 Sig and the 40. So as long as they didn't change anything too terribly much between the 4th and the 5th gen as far as those dimensions, this guy should fit just fine. Let's go ahead and take a compact magazine. Oh, this one's got that issue as well. There it goes. Not sure why those are having some feeding issues. Alright. Well, let's give it a try. Let me get some targets up. Alright, well, let's give it a try and see how a Gen 5 357 Sig, doesn't exist, but let's see how it works. Oh yeah. Whoa, there it is. Oof. See that flinch again? Need to do more dry practice. It works. So there you guys go. A Gen 5 357 Sig. If you actually want one of these, let's say that you do have a Gen 5 Glock in 40 cal, and you say, man, I wish that I could shoot 357 Sig. Lone Wolf Distributors. They don't give me any money. They're just one of the places that I have gone frequently. All of my conversion barrels, with the exception of 2 of them, are from Lone Wolf Distributors. This is an older barrel. I don't know if they still make a conversion to 357 Sig for the Glock 23, but I believe that they do. But yeah, Lone Wolf Distributors, you can get yourself conversion barrels and check their website just to see what they say about compatibility with 5th gen. But this is the one that I got when Gen 3 was the most popular. Gen 4 had just come out, and it works in a Gen 5, at least for those 10 rounds that I just shot. Alright, so if you'd like me to make a video specifically on a Gen 5 Glock 23, let me know in the comments below, and maybe we'll spend a little bit of time with it. I'd kind of like to do a Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5 comparison, specifically with the Glock 23. I didn't get a Glock 22 in Gen 5, didn't really feel the need. Glock 23 is one of my favorites because I can convert it 40, 357 Sig, and 9. And I really like that platform. That's just it just fits so nicely. I like the larger frame Glocks as well, but man, this was where I started. This is home. So I do like a Glock 23, that compact Glock size. I'll give you my opinions on the fatness of this slide if we actually make a video, but let me know down in the comments below if you want to see a Gen 5 Glock 23 review video, etc. And just as an open invitation, feel free to throw in the comments any ideas that you want me to run through. I've got my list of ideas, but hey, you guys are the ones watching. It better be something you're interested in. Not like Demolition Ranch, who just comes up with his own ideas and then says the viewers came up with them. Anyway, stay safe, guys. Have a great day. Hope that you get out to a range, even with the price of ammo. Hope you get to have some fun. Hope you get to have some fun in the near future. Stay safe. We'll see you next time. One last thing. 357 Sig brass is crazy expensive. So if you get into 357 Sig, make sure that you pick up your brass. And then, if this video gets 10,000 likes, I'll do a reload video specifically on 357 SIG and let you know how you can actually reload 357 SIG reliably. You'll notice I had a few issues with my rounds. This is a tough cartridge to reload well. 10,000 likes? Not gonna happen. But I'll make a video about 357 SIG reloading. Don't forget to pick up your brass.